Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So I've been kind of going on a theme this week with controversial topics. Let's go with another one. I want to talk about individuality. This can be a controversial topic because a lot of people are really heavily focused on individualism, and I think it's a good thing. I'm an individual. I had a buddy of mine years ago who he wrote a song, and the title was I'm an Individual. And I'll never forget when he invited me over. And he's a metalhead, long-haired dude, had tons of guitars all over his house. He sold pot. He had fish tanks all over his fucking house, like 15 fish tanks. I'd go over there, get stoned, and just sit up at his fish tanks looking at all these fucking fish. This buddy of mine, Scott, in Santa Cruz. I hate to put him on blast. If Scott watches this video, it'd be the first time he hears me make fun of him for this song. But he came over, I was a good buddy of his, and he's like, man, I wrote this song, and it's such a great song. Sit down. I sat down on the couch, and it's just me and him in his house, and he is standing up in the living room, and he straps on his guitar, and he gets the microphone going, and he dials all that bullshit in, and then he blasts into this loud guitar riff that I could barely hear because we're in a small apartment, not at a concert venue, and he starts screaming, I'm an individual, I'm an individual, and he just says it over and over again, I do what I want. He's like, so what do you think? I didn't know what to say, just be supportive. We all like to think that we're individuals. But when does individuality become a bad thing? Can it be a bad thing? Are there times when it's necessary to give up on ourselves? I think that as we grow up, I'm 50 years old, I'm still talking about growing up. As we mature, transition from different phases of that boyhood mentality into a manhood mentality, we realize that there are other people more important than ourselves. That it's not all about me. This is why family turns boys into men, because you realize it's not all about you. This is why service to others, military, can turn you into a man, because it's not all about you. In fact, it's not about you and your wants and your needs at all. It's about the nation. It's not all about you and what you want to do today. It's about your motherfucking family. Right? You show up to work every day not because you want to, because you have to. You're a responsible person, not because you want to be, because you have to be. You have people relying upon you. Their lives depend upon you. So I think that many of us, we understand the value of institution. Family is an institution. The military is an institution. The police are an institution. The fire department is an institution. Your job is an institution. You find somebody at work who's not loyal to the company, they're not a team player. Maybe they're stealing from the company. Maybe they're taking naps. This one employee, I worked at the Chateau Marmont Hotel in Hollywood, and it's a very posh luxury hotel with 3.5 acres in the Hollywood Hills, and all the celebrities go there, and I have literally 100 or more celebrity stories from that hotel, and I've told some of them on this channel. But I had this one employee, this guy Bernard. He was a Crip, shoreline Crip, tattoos up. He did 8 years in Folsom. I thought Bernard was a good guy. He was a hard worker sometimes, but he would disappear. Bernard would just disappear, man. He'd be gone. I'd be like, where the fuck is he? I had 2 employees, a black guy and a Mexican guy. The Mexican guy was a slow worker, like a snail. Take one thing and take him all day. You should be able to do 5 or 6 things, but he would be steady and he would work. The black guy, Bernard, work his ass off when he wanted to, and then the rest of the time he'd be gone. I finally found Bernard one day. He would just disappear. Like he had a porthole to another dimension that he could just go into, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Bernard would just be gone. And I'd wonder, is he leaving the property? What's going on with Bernard? So I caught that motherfucker one day down in the basement of the parking garage. It's several-story parking garage. And he was down in the basement of it, in between 2 cars that were parked close together. They have valet parking, and those motherfuckers sandwich those things in. And he's in between these 2 cars that are like this. on the ground, laying on the ground, sleeping. I fucking yanked his ass out of there. It was like, what are you doing? That kind of shit's annoying. You're not a team player. You're tired. Your little individual needs have ruined this team effort that we have as landscapers to maintain this 3.5 acre property. It sucks to have somebody on your team who's not pulling their weight. You hear about this a lot in the military, a lot of military customers. Thanks for the military, because so many times they're the only people that are continually spending, because they have kind of a different budget than the rest of us, since many of them live on base. And, you know, I'm not saying they got it easy, but there's been times when the economy has just dived and sunk, and these military guys are still getting their bikes worked on when the rest of you aren't. So I'm very grateful to my military friends and customers, and they complain about this type of thing. And they have a name for us. I forget what the name is. I'm not a military guy. They have a name for the type of guy who is always ducking out, or is always trying to, he's lazy, he's weak, he's not pulling his weight, and always up to mischief and things like that, not really playing the same role that other guys are doing. And a guy like that can be untrustworthy, and that's the problem with somebody who isn't a true team player, that they're not thinking for the group, they're thinking for themselves too much. You know, there's a fine line with this, because we all are individuals, and in no way would I suggest give up who you are. But there's a time in your life, in every man's life, when he has to decide what's more important, me or the group. And you can't trust a person who isn't a team player, if they're not group oriented, that they're not loyal. If you're not loyal to the institution, and you're trying to be too much of an individual, too much in your own little scene of what you want to do, you're not trustworthy. In gangs, it's the same way. We need somebody who's going to be dedicated, and that is going to not just be a robot clone, yes sir, yes sir. You know, I mean, that's helpful, and some people run groups like that. But really, you just want somebody who has a shared ideology and a mission and a goal. They understand the mission, and they're down with that mission, and they're available for help to be a part of that team. It's the same with business. It's the same with family. Cops know this, firemen know this. Any kind of group, people at Starbucks know this. Any team that you have, any group that you have, you want people to realize that it's not about you. Today isn't about you. It's about others. Life isn't about you. Stop thinking everything is about you. People get lost in this notion of individuality, and I hate to attack individuality because it makes me sound like some kind of communist. I'm not. I'm a capitalist. But I'm a team player. And you know, we can't always be so focused on me, I. You hear people talk about this in their speech patterns. Well, I believe this, and I think that. You hear people that just say the word I so much. And you wonder, it's like, well, I mean, it really is just all about you. That's all you're thinking of, is this place of I. I-ness. It's just me. It's just so backwards of thinking, because the human animal is a pack animal. We get together in groups. Your family's a group. Your friends are a group. Our whole lives are dealing with various groups, and to be successful in any group, you have to realize that it's not about you. A leader knows this. A leader sacrifices his own emotions and wants and needs and agenda for the greater good of the group and the mission and the ideology. I think it's important to understand this so we can pull ourselves back from trying to force our own agenda on institutions. So if you're part of an institution, if you're part of the media, your personal agenda should be sidelined. So many media personalities will have their own Twitter page, their own social media page, and they're not promoting the media company that they work for. They're promoting themselves as a brand and standing on top of that media company as a reason why you should follow them. Listen to what I say because I'm a writer at the New York Times. And meanwhile, this motherfucker's not really following the New York Times agenda. He's just going off on his own. People do this at Fox. They do this at MSNBC. Any journalist who wants to brand themselves as an individual entertainer that you should be listening to their opinion has strayed from being a team player at that institution, and they're no longer trustworthy. You can go down the line with any kind of person like this. A cop who has their own personal agenda with law enforcement is no longer trustworthy. You need to be a part of the institution of American law and justice if you're a police officer and uphold that. Your own little agenda doesn't matter at all. I don't care what you think is right. We all agree what is right in this country, and we have it written down in our fucking Constitution, and you don't want no rogue fucking cops. Their little stupid mission, trying to brand themselves as some kind of hero. So that's my message for today. It's not about you. Life's not about you. Every man needs to know this. Stop being a whiny little bitch, crying about your emotions, crying about what kind of shit that's going on in your life, and realize that you have a duty to others, a duty to your folk, your faith, your family, your community, your nation. You're a part of this whether you like it or not. It's all food for thought. Thanks for watching.